All right, so we are going to start part 6. It says 63 on it for Unit 5 Worksheet 2. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sketch the circle, the larger circle that makes up the bottom of the shape that has the grooves in it. We're not going to do any grooves at this point. And so that circle has a diameter of 100. And we are going to extrude it downward a height of 50, which is 67 minus 15. So this is the bottom of our shape, but we see that the top of this face is actually exposed on the left side of our part, and then it's actually parallel with and at the same level as those cutout sections on the right side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch on this surface, and I'm going to draw based on the top view, which is in the lower left of the drawing. First, I'm going to draw a circle that's centered in the same spot. This one has a diameter of 76. And then from the bottom, we need to go over 130. And then up to the center of that circle, which will be 18. Then between these circles, it's another 44. Also has a diameter of 36. And then here we've got, it looks like from the bottom, a total of 75 before we cut over. And this I'm just going to draw too long and we'll trim it later. I then see all of it from the bottom again. We're going to 128. And then I'm going to go in line with the circle, and I'm going to backtrack 87. And this is the location of that top corner. So we know that this line here is a length of 50 and 5 degrees. Just a slight slant. And then we see it goes the rest of the way to the circle. It's 35 degrees from the vertical, which would be, what is that? Actually going to escape so that I get a new angle measurement. There we go. So 90 degrees would be straight down. We want an additional 65, which would be 155. Oh, excuse me, 145. No, 125, excuse me. So I'm going to add, yeah, there we go. So 90 is straight down plus another 35 would be 125. And I'll go all the way until I hit that inner circle. Then I'm going to escape and get the line tool, going from this corner up here straight down until I intersect this horizontal line that I made too long earlier. And then from here, I think this would be a good time to start trimming a little bit. So I'll trim any lines that are too long. We also need a line that's tangent. With these two circles, I'm just going to use the tangent constraint tool just to make sure. I'm going to use the center of the circle just to make sure that I'm actually hitting the point that I want to be on each of these circles. And I'll make this too long as well, so we can then trim it later. So that looks good. We can then fillet these outer corners to have a radius of 8. So there's one. Radius of 8. I think that should be it. So I'm going to finish this sketch, and I'm actually going to extrude it. Make sure I get all of the regions that I wanted to in there. That was a region I didn't want. So here, here, here. And I'm actually going to extrude it in 2 different directions, and the reason I'm going to do that is because this has to go up 17, but it actually has to go down into that cylinder an additional 8 for a total of 25. And so now we've got, if we look this front view here, we've got that little overhang that cuts down into the shape, which is what we want. And we've got this higher section, which now we can sketch on top of and push down the sections we don't want. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a circle that matches this outside here. And then I'm going to draw a line. And notice that when I kind of hover near 90 degrees with this black line up here, I get that perpendicular constraint, which I would actually like to use here. So I'm going to be perpendicular. Try that one more time, and then I'll input the negative 35 degrees. Okay. And so now we're exactly 8 away from that other line. And so I'm going to make it a little bit too long again, and I'm going to try to make it parallel to the first line. We use the parallel constraint to make sure that it actually is before we use a line to extend the rest of the way. You see that it locks onto that line. We'll then do the same thing from this corner. What's nice about this is that we're going to go vertically. So go over 8 and then down past this corner. We need a line that's 8 away from this edge. And goes vertically down. And we're going to go 8 along the bottom as well. My escape key is not working, which is why I'm doing this too much clicking of the line tool. And from this corner, I'm going to go into the circle. And here we want a 20-degree, which means I'm going to go 20 shy of 180, or 160 degrees. And then from this shape, I'm going to go 4 in either direction before I go back to the corner. So now I got to do some filleting. There's a lot of radius 8 filleting. Oh, before I can use this circle though to fill it, I need to trim it so that it knows where it can pull an edge from. 8 up there, 8 here, 8 here and here. I need to trim these circles as well. I just noticed we have to go straight from the bottom of the circle. to the right. That's 8. This stays as a corner here. And I'll connect these two up top. And trim. Okay, so now that was a lot, but we are going to push these two sections downward and cut them out. And the distance that we want to cut them is 17. So now we can put 2 holes through these sections here. Both of those holes have a diameter of 18. They're very simplistic. And then put a hole through the top here. And this is going to be a diameter of 56 through and 62 at the top. And the depth of that will be just 10. That looks right. And so then the last thing that we have to do is create those notches. And so for that, I'm going to draw on a plane that intersects one of those notches. And so I actually want the plane that goes kind of through the long section of my shape, but also through the center. And so I'm going to sketch on that plane. And I'm going to use the dimensions in the cutout side view, which is in the upper left of our assignment. And what I want to do is go from the center out 70 and up 12, which is where the center of the circle will be. This circle has a radius of 30 or a diameter of 60. And then I'm going to real quick enclose the shape of the circle that intersects with my shape. So what I can then do with that is I can revolve it. And so the profiles I want to revolve are just, there we go, just that top one. And then the axis I want to revolve it around is the axis that goes through the shape. So nothing is popping up here. I can see if any of these axes, sure enough, the y-axis goes right through it. Otherwise, you can create an axis with this tool that goes right through the center of your shape. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to cut it out, but I don't want to actually cut it out around the whole bottom of the shape. I want to just make one small notch, and then we're going to use the circular pattern tool in order to make it the rest of the times. So this groove should go we don't even have to revolve it actually. I'm going to extrude it since we're given a distance, not a degree. And so I want a symmetric distance that is a total of 8. I'm going to cut that out. And I'm going to hide this plane so we can take a look at what we created here. So there's one of those notches. That's my extrusion 4. And so what I'll do is I'll use the circular pattern tool to repeat that extrusion around this axis. And I want 18 of them. And that's how we finish the shape.